this, line. We are going to, by the way, go from nation to nation. So we're going to start with the USA and end with Sweden last. Totally not because the most anticipated vehicle is in Sweden. No. I'm totally not going to try and keep you in the stream and watching. We're just, it's just for you know, it's useful this way.
We're getting meta already.
Yes, we're getting very meta. So let's start off with a new American plane. Or at least a new version of an American plane. The F-8E. This is a new jet coming in at 10.0 for the US, batch rating and rank 7. This one has a few options in terms of loadout, which might be quite interesting to some of you CAS enthusiasts out there. As well as, I guess, your air-to-air enthusiasts. You have access to AIM-9B Sidewinders and AIM-9Ds. Nothing more advanced than this at this moment, which means it's not going to be the most useful air-to-air plane at the moment. But you have some decent ground ordnance options that you can bring along. Up to and including bullpups. These are the Bs, not the Cs. These are the normal-sized ones, and you can only carry 2 of them at a time, but you can bring them along with bombs, with air-to-air rockets, with regular rockets, with Mighty Mouses, with all the good stuff. This has a lot of ordnance options. In fact, I'm going to quickly switch over to Reddit mode, which also needs a work in progress badge. There you go.
Whoa.
So you can take a look at all these loadout options for the F-8E. Now, little spoiler for what's coming up ahead in the stream. This is not the only F-8E. In this patch, there's also one for France. But the French one has some different loadout options, I would say. Yes. Quite different ones.
Quite so.
There you go. We're also going to be showing you some of our new test drive maps later on when we switch over into the tanks. And I like this camo quite a bit.
Yeah, it's pretty nice.
It is very nice.
It's very sleek, very nice looking.
We can bring out the bullpups and 4 air-to-air missiles at the same time, as well as an internal rocket pod, actually, which is quite nice. I don't think many people realize this thing is a deployable rocket pod.
It's quite cool, actually. I didn't know this plane actually had it until, well, we got it the first one in the game, but it's actually really nice. I don't know any planes that have that. I think the Super Mystere does. But,
it might, yeah, I think it does.
The internal one underneath, but yeah, it's pretty cool. I like it.
Now, speaking of American stuff, you may see a new Abrams over here. I wonder what this is.
New
Tom,
Browns.
why don't you say what that is?
Well, it's a new Abrams. I don't know too much about this version. I'm not really that well versed in modern vehicles when compared to sort of older stuff. But I believe there's some light armor differences here and there. Obviously, at the moment, it's largely preliminary, but there is also this nice little box here, which is very cool, very curious, very interesting. So yeah, not exactly, I think, much of a intense upgrade over what we have generally in the tree, but it does bolster the lineup, which is really what it was lacking, I think, at the moment. There wasn't really that much backup in terms of, well, when compared to the other nations, all the Leo 2s and, you know, the T-80s and that kind of thing. So it does a lot there, like adds a bit more variance, which is always good. So although it's not, you know, immensely different in terms of actual functionality, you can show the preliminary modifications here as well. It does, you know, add a lot more to the lineup itself, which is still really important. Which is pretty great.
Now, this one actually fills out the slot over here in the tech tree, which I'm going to show now. It slots in right in between the M1A1 and the M1A2. Now, as far as I'm aware, in terms of armor protection, the new M1A1HC comes pretty close to the M1A2 in terms of protection. And it has pretty much the same loadout options for your cannon, as well as, Tom mentioned, the APS, which is going to be useful against the few ATGMs you tend to see at top tier.
Yeah, a couple. Yeah.
I'm not sure if it works against everything, though. I need to see if it works against the helicopter-fired ones.
There's some that it doesn't work against, but the vast majority, I think it does. So that's something. But yeah, there's also, in my lineup here...
I know there's something you're quite interested in, isn't there?
I mean, it's not going to be the biggest thing for a lot of people, but I love this, right? So, B-17s, all of them, have got a model update, which is very, very nice. As we can see, the polygons extend over 10, especially over the engine cowlings. Very, very round now. And I'm actually really excited about this because they were one of the oldest models in the game, the B-17s, and now they look really, really nice. All of them get it, the other B-17s here. The Japanese captured one gets it as well, and they are looking really, really sleek, really nice. The damage models are updated as well, so they have more updated, well, damage, I suppose, which is pretty great. It's really detailed, and I love all this stuff, and it's nice to see some of the older vehicles get a bit of a rework. I'm really happy about that.
It's a nice quality of life change, a nice, nice attention to detail, I suppose, having an old model upgraded like this.
It's really pretty, and there's a lot of work been put into them, and all the camos and stuff. It's, you know, some nice weathering, etc. It's really great. So,
speaking of weathering, I know there's one plane coming up that you're going to show that has some extreme weathering on those wings.
Yeah, I wondered why that was, but yeah, really does. Another favorite of mine.
All right. There are, of course, some new cockpits as well for some helicopters. We are going to be showing a few, but you will have to figure out the rest of them. Speaking of helicopters, we have a little surprise for you guys. Do you like Apaches? I'm sure you do like Apaches. Would you like to be able to get an Apache without having to get to rank 5 in tanks or aircraft?
Yeah.
How about a squadron version of the prototype for the YAH-64? The YAH-64 is going to make it into the game in the next update called Direct Hit. And this one is going to be an interesting one. Now, it is in all effects a baby Apache. It does have access to 16 Hellfires. Although you can't really bring too much else with them. You have some Hydras as well. But this thing has an interesting tail. What? Why does it have a table on the back?
That is kind of whack. I didn't notice that before.
It does look kind of whack.
Yeah.
I do like the coloring on the tail rotor here, as well as
nice.
the
It
yellow
is
tips
nice.
here.
Yeah.
As you can see, it is very much an Apache. It looks a bit slimmer than a regular Apache, I would say. You do still have that 30mm chain gun in the nose as well, which does have access to the HEDP shell, so you can do some work against some light tanks if you get up close, although to what extent you want to get up close to the tank battlefield in a helicopter at these kinds of tiers is, well, to be seen. I wouldn't recommend it. And yeah, you can get this by simply being in a squadron. You don't have to buy this. I mean, you can buy it with GE if you want to skip ahead. But you can simply get this by being in a squadron actively and getting squadron RP. It's a nice way of getting your first helicopter, I suppose, which is quite nice. All right, next up we have also, speaking of helicopters and all the good stuff, we have a new cockpit for a few helicopters. We are going to be showing a few of them. Mainly I want to show off the AH-1F just because it's a bit iconic in its role. Let me just quickly load up. There we go. And there we go. There is the new cockpit for the AH-1F. A bit more detailed. Lots and lots of dials. Holy crap.
Yeah.
There's actually one that... which one was it? The French one? That had a really nice cockpit. You were flying it early on.
Oh yeah, the Alouette.
Okay, maybe we'll show that as well, just because it looks very funky, and I do quite like it.
Funky.
Of course, this isn't really going to be very interesting to most of you AB and RB players. RB maybe if you like to play in the helicopter view, but there are a lot of quality of life changes for sim players in this update. In fact, there's one that has been kind of mentioned in the Russian stream a few hours ago, which is mirrors. Actual high-resolution mirrors in
really
your
good.
planes.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can actually see what's behind you now, properly, which is quite nice.
Pretty cool.
We might show that in a second as well. Alright, moving on. We have... Oh no, we have a ship.
We do.
Tom, we do have a ship.
We do.
What do we have over there?
We do kind of be having the Pittsburgh though, which is the Baltimore class, which is a very, very nice ship. It's one of the later versions. Very, very pretty. I can briefly show the armor here, but we will be test driving it a little bit just to show another new feature.
Oh yeah.
Which has been added, which are the little boxes here. These fire directors, which means basically there is a radar lead for some ships, effectively to engage targets on the move and be a bit more accurate, which is a very big sort of jumping technology, but nevertheless, it's pretty cool. So if we start moving here, I can make my auxiliary stop bullying the aircraft, although they already have. Sad. But new interface, you can see a couple of differences here, but if we get on the move and range in this destroyer here, well, this happens automatically. You can build up a little bit of speed. We'll see this little V appear, which is basically the compensation for the lead. And obviously in these test drives, the other ships don't move, so we'll have to get a little bit of speed to build this up. So we fire around this point. Obviously there's a bit of an accuracy on the rounds, but they will go, relatively speaking, near the middle or of the ship, which is pretty nice. And a lot of ships have this. Even some destroyers, some of the later cruisers and stuff have this feature as well, which is pretty cool. And yeah, so there's not really much else to go into. It's quite a simple change here, but pretty substantial one, I think, for a lot of vessels that use this. So it's.
I have a feeling this update, this specific feature was made specifically for me, just because I can't aim.
Yeah, I mean, that was one of the sort of the biggest gatekeepers, I think, of naval realistic, was that the guns are quite difficult to aim. I mean, it takes a while. It's one of those things that if I don't play it for a very long time, I will forget immediately. So it is good in that sense, but we'll see how it goes, how it develops. But yeah, it's pretty cool little feature. Other cool features are probably one of my... It's like, this is the... Like, right. Not,
this patch was made for you.
It was, yeah. This is like the thing I've wanted for such a long time. And it regards probably my favorite aircraft ever, maybe. Which is this boy, H111. I love the HE-111. It's a very, very pretty plane. And I believe it's user-made.
The cockpit of it is user-made as far as I'm aware, yes. So this was made by a player through our user-made program. You can actually win money by modeling stuff for War Thunder, and this is one of them.
I love it so much. HE-111 I absolutely love as a plane. This is really, really cool. This is the only 111 that gets it right now. I don't believe the others have their own cockpit. Maybe they will quite soon. But yeah, the 111 I think easily is probably one of the, well, I don't know. It's very rugged, sort of quintessential bomber, I guess, in that sense. And there's loads of detail. There's even like a little map there in the corner, which is great. Like the amount of effort.
It's actually pretty detailed.
Yeah, the effort put into this is really, really nice. It's such a pretty plane.
I can't help but think, when I see the cockpit, I think Millennium Falcon.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah, I know what you mean. It really does have that same sort of glass in the nose. And also, we can briefly show some new noises.
Oh, yes, do that. We have some new gun noises for aircraft guns.
So pretty much all aircraft guns have got a bit more beefy. I can't hear it because I'm not wearing headphones, but I do know they are really, really nice. The British 77s are great. The Japanese 30s, the high velocity ones, are like super meaty now. Same as the 262. There's a lot of meat going on. And yeah, I'm imagining it sounding quite good, but I don't know.
You may want to put your headphones on at some point, Tom.
No.
He just refuses. It's fine.
Refuse. But yeah,
it's fine.
Probably one of my favorite things. Won't be for everyone, of course. I mean, you know, but I mean, I love it. Favorite plane finally gets a cockpit. Very, very nice. Very happy with that.
All right, so that is the vehicles for the US so far. There may be more, there may be not. We'll have to wait for the rest over to.